Man, Lindsay, why you gotta be that way? Really? Lord of the Flies. William Golding's Lord of the Flies. Well, I mean, unless there's another Lord of the Flies I don't know about. I could be wrong, but you want me to tackle this subject? Word? Huh. What else could I add to it that everybody else hasn't already said? Well, other than the fact that, well, I don't like it.
Mr. Horse, what are your thoughts on William Golding's Lord of the Flies?
No, sir, I didn't like it.
Now, before you guys come and, torch and pitchfork my house, let me explain something to you a little bit. All right, Lord of the Flies has always been a very touchy subject for me. I remember reading the book back in either middle school or early high school. I hated reading it because while it was a compelling narrative, to be sure, and learning about evils of mankind through an allegory that decided to use young half-naked schoolboys, rolling around in the dirt without, adult supervision, just boys, not girls. I still couldn't help but to kind of, I don't know, roll my eyes at it. It felt really pretentious to me, and it felt like it was reaching in a way that I just didn't buy or believe. I always felt like this message was like a no-brainer, the evils of mankind. Wasn't that the whole point of, the biblical story of Adam and Eve? God did it first, and he did better. So, without further ado, this is William Golding's Lord of the Flies. Alright, so first things first, let's get to know who William Golding is. Born on September 19th, 1911, he is best known for his novel entitled Lord of the Flies. Golding was knighted in 1988 by Elizabeth II. That's right, y'all. He is a knight, like Sir Elton John. I'm not quite sure what, that means and what he's going to do with that or whatever. I mean, I guess he's going to put some armor on and start fighting dragons and shit. I really don't know. But he's a knight. Yay. It's also well known that Golding was a schoolmaster or school teacher for several years. Educated and a man of science and literature, William Golding seems to be well-rounded. So no wonder he wrote one of the most phenomenal novels of all time, or one of the greatest influential novels or stories of all time. Not to take anything away from William Golding. I mean, obviously he's brilliant. Obviously he's talented. However, I think sometimes we as readers or critics like to overanalyze everything. Oh, he's writing this because it's a satire of sorts, yada yada yada, savagery and the evils of man. Well, you know what? Why don't we listen to how he came up with the narrative and his opinions?
My name's William Golding, and I wrote this book, Lord of the Flies, in, I think it was either 1953 or 1954. There have been a great many things said about how it came to be written, and I don't know whether any of them are true or not. As far as I'm concerned, it happened because one day I was sitting one side of the fireplace and my wife was sitting the other, and I suddenly said to her, wouldn't it be a good idea to write a story about some boys on an island showing how they would really behave? Being boys and not little saints as they usually are in children's books. And she said, that's a first-class idea, you write it. So I went ahead and wrote it.
Luke, take them some meat. I promised I'd get meat. Didn't I, Ralph? I want you to tell the little ones that I made you a promise and I kept it. Say it!
You kept your promise, but you don't keep the fire watch. You think one lousy meal is worth not getting rescued? We've got to be one group again.
I agree. You can join my camp and have all the meat you want.
We don't want your meat.
Are you sure? Because, Piggy seems to want his meat.
Oh, yeah. Then why'd you come here?
We came here to try and talk some sense to you.
You don't have the conch. Doesn't matter what you say. The conch is in our camp where it belongs.
What's the matter, Tits?
I'm sorry, yo, but did that little shit just call him Tits?
Were you afraid to bring it with you? Anyway, the conch doesn't count anymore, Miss Piggy Tits.
Stop that!
Nobody's interested in you or your fucking conch. Why don't you take your fat friend and shove off?
And we're back. And, the reason why I look different is because, well, that clip took so long and it was boring me half to death. So I went and got a drink and I started doing my hair and makeup and stuff. And, you know, I was just bored because Lord of the Flies is just Lord of the Flies. All right, but whatever. Let's get serious. As serious as I can get. All right. The reason why I showed you that clip and the reason why I showed you or allowed you to listen to William Golding's interview about Lord of the Flies and how the birth of his masterpiece came to be was because, like I stated before, you know, we like to overanalyze things. I remember there was a part in the story about one of the little ones, one of the children that were like 6 years old, stating, "What are you going to do about the snake thing?"
In the night, some vines move in the wind, and a little boy has a nightmare. The apprehension of dark and unseen things begins to grow.
He wants to know, what are you going to do about the snake thing? Ralph laughed, and the other boys laughed with him. The small boy twisted further into himself. Tell us about the snake thing. Now he says it was a beastie.
Well, the snake, of course, goes back to Genesis. The snake is the evil creature. It's associated in Western culture with the fall, and the island is about a fall.
Did you hear that? Did you hear what that professor or something or other said? He was all like, of course the snake dates all the way back to Genesis. Of course the snake dates all the way back to Genesis. Did you hear that? Really? Don't you think he kind of really reaching? I mean, it's a little boy. It's dark outside. He's scared of the dark. Why can't it just be about what it fucking says? I'm Leela Debris. Like, share, and subscribe. And part 2 will be up real soon.